Okay, I'm here at Oceanside Harbor and looking towards the pier, but then just past the pier you can clearly see Point Loma, and the highest point on Point Loma is like 500 feet. From here in Oceanside I'm a good 40 miles from it. Pretty chemtrail sky, but let's see if I can focus in on Point Loma. There's the tip of the pier, which is a mile away. Let's see here. But yeah, there's Point Loma. There's a boat going through, way out there. And can't really see Point Loma, but that boat, with my eye, it went just past the tip there. But you can clearly see Point Loma. I don't have my tripod. I'm trying to hold it as steady as I can. There you go. There's the tip right there. Zoomed all the way in right there. Darn it. Up, it shakes. I don't see it. It's on the big screen, but I can clearly see the tip of Point Loma. Where's that boat at? There's that boat. And it's going to be at the, I'll tell you when it gets to the tip of Point Loma. So even as hazy as it is, I can see the tip of Point Loma, which the tip of Point Loma is like 400 feet. So at 40 miles, 8 inches of miles squared, I mean, I shouldn't be able to see it. It should be 100 to 200 feet below the curve. I shouldn't even be able to see Point Loma at all. So there you go. But as you can see, it's a nice sunset. Chemtrail sky, the chemtrail's coming through. That's why evening in Fallbrook, when all this stuff blows in, big chemtrail came through right up there. Okay, there's the distance from where I was at the Oceanside Harbor to the tip of Point Loma, and it says 38.62 miles. So I said 40 miles, pretty close. Now we'll go over to the curve calculator and see what the curve of that distance should be, roughly 40 miles, and of 8 inches of curvature squared per mile, and what the highest elevation of Point Loma is, and see if it should be below the curve. So we'll check that. Okay, we're looking at Point Loma and where the lighthouse is, Old Point Loma Lighthouse, and it says the elevation of the last point, which is where I've highlighted, 128.6 meters or 421.9 feet. So it's under 500 feet. So now we'll go over to the curvature calculator and see how far below the curve, that 421 feet of, I think it's the highest point on the end of Point Loma is the lighthouse. So, and I obviously couldn't see the lighthouse, but I could see the point from Oceanside Harbor. Okay, now we're over here at the Earth curve calculator, and I set the eye height to 10 feet because I was on the rocks up there on the jetty, and it was probably 10 feet at the most. I set the targeted distance for 38.62 miles, which is exactly what Google Earth said, and I did it from the point of the lighthouse. That's pretty close to the tip of Point Loma, and the elevation of the lighthouse is at like 420 feet. So the curvature should be, and so the target hidden height should be 805 feet. So it should be, Point Loma should have been hidden by 385 feet of curvature, and I could clearly focus in on it. So whatever they're telling us is not correct. Looks to me like there is no curve on this planet Earth they tell us we live on. So just something to think about.